It was 2015. I had first started my business. I was the one answering phone calls, sending text messages, emails, making the sales, you name it. I was doing everything. I was working 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plus hours a day. I picked my head up in 6 months and go, I cannot continue to do this for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I have to have some help. So then I said I had to hire somebody. And that is when I went through my 8-step process in attracting and hiring an employee, my first employee back in 2015 in less than 30 days. So hang with me. I'm going to be sharing 8 steps with you today so that you can apply it in your business, remove yourself from the business or from those tasks and responsibilities so you can work on what's most important, which is on the business. And it's not going to happen right away. It's going to take time. And that is what we're designating these videos. So learn from my trials and errors and mistakes. So step 1 is you need to figure out who the ideal candidate is. Who do you want to replace yourself? And what I would give you some nuggets on this is think about how you show up for the business. Think about that ownership mentality. Think about the commitment, the reliability. Would you want an employee that's going to show up every day, that's going to be flaky, that's going to be unreliable, and they don't show up early or they don't leave late? Think about yourself. Well, Sean, it's going to be hard for them to have that ownership mentality. I get that, but you can still start looking for these traits to replace yourself in that first employee. So you want to take a pen and paper and write these things down. What are some traits that you want to look for? Meaning, for me, I want hard worker. I want somebody that's eager. I want somebody that's hungry. I want somebody with similar beliefs and values. I want somebody that's going to be reliable, that's going to actually show up when they got a sniffy nose. So these are just a few characteristics that I look for in that step 1 on who is the ideal candidate that you want to come in and talk to your customers and that ultimately you're going to work with and replace yourself with. So that's step 1. Step 2 is going to be optimize your job listings. This is a fun one. Within that 12 months, I was like, oh my gosh, now that I have my ideal candidate and who I want to come in here and I know who I'm looking for, how am I going to optimize my job listings? What am I going to do, right? There's ZipRecruiter, there's LinkedIn at this time. This was 8 years ago. And all these different platforms, it was honestly overwhelming. I stuck with what I knew, and that was Facebook at the time. That's where a lot of my candidates and target audience was hanging out with for the insurance industry. So you know what I did? I said, you know what? I'm going to make a video just like this, and I'm going to speak to who I'm looking for. Hard worker, commitment, looking for growth opportunity. And I made this I think it was about a 2 to 3 minute video that's still on the Facebook page. I rolled it out there. I asked all my family and friends to share it, and they shared it, and I got a lot of candidates, but I was able to weed those out because of the step that I'm going to be sharing with you later. So hang with me here. And finally, I had my first employee reach out that's still with me to this day. And she said, hey, I'm looking for an opportunity. I'm doing an intern and I want to come in there and work for you for 3 months. I would have never have got this individual to reach out to me if it wasn't, 1, if I wouldn't have made the video, 2, if the individual wouldn't have been referred, and 3, if I would have never have had the courage to say what candidate I was looking for. So optimize your job listing. And this just goes for social media, using word of mouth with family and friends, letting your community know, and just being intentional about it. So optimize that job listing. Step 3 is going to be build a strong employer brand, right? At this time, I was just basically building on my back, right? And so I had my website, I had my logo, I had all the different things that we teach as entrepreneurs and business owners in our coaching group. And so when an employee looked into it, I was transparent with them. I said, look, we're a new startup. We're 6 months into this. We're 12 months into this. And so nothing is going to be perfect right now, but rest assured, over time, we're going to build this thing together and you're going to be a part of that sweat equity. So that step 3 is build a strong employer brand because you want people to come and work for you. You want champions. You want individuals that believe in your product, your logo, your company, and your brand. You want them to come work with you, and you do that by being attractive. So step 4 is going to be streamline the application process. So you don't want to sit here and before I started the insurance business, I was a part of other corporations where I went through this hiring process. One of them was enterprise rent-a-car. I went through like an 8-step process in this in getting hired at enterprise rent-a-car. And I picked and I'm not knocking that eight-step process that they have. I actually pulled away from it, but it was very drug out, meaning like it took multiple weeks. That was the number one thing that I took away from it. I really liked how they went through the steps of talking to different individuals in shadow day. So I liked those, and I pulled away from what I liked about when I went through that process. But the number one thing is they took forever. It was like 2 or 3 weeks before I got an answer. And if you're a potential candidate, you're not wanting to typically wait 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe you are. But for me as a business owner, I encourage you to, hey, let's act fast. I'm talking within a multiple days. So make sure you streamline the process. And I try to make all this happen within 48 to 72 hours. I do that by setting the standards and the expectations with the candidate. Step 5 is going to be fast tracking the interview. So I do this by having pre-interview questions. And this is an email that my hiring manager sends out. And it basically, all the candidates that are interested, they weed themselves out by some just don't even answer the question. Well, I know right then and there, if you're not going to put the time, energy, and effort to answer that question, then you're not going to put the time, energy, and effort to, come in and work hard, come in and do the things that need to be done on a daily basis in this business. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if your candidate is doing that, what else are they going to be doing that in? Like, I don't need to answer that question. So what I have found is the candidates that really took the time to answer the pre-interview questions, then those are the ones that I really want to talk to. So make sure you fast track the interview process. And, on top of that, the hiring manager, which in my case, it took years to get to a hiring manager, but now he's able to filter through those pre-interview questions. All right, so step 6 is going to be competitive offers. So this is where like you basically shoot them like, hey, they've seen the culture, they like everything that you're saying, and now it's like, okay, well, is this going to be a good fit as far as competitive benefits, flexible hours, right? Especially, I'm a Generation X, so there's a lot of flexibility that needs to be had in this day and age. So for us, it's basically personalizing what it is that individual wants. So whatever that candidate is looking for after they've heard everything that we've had to offer, as far as flexible hours and competitive commission structure. And so all these different things, if they need a salary, if they need an hourly, what really makes them tick? So have that ready to go and personalize it for them, because it's not one size fits all. Step 7 is going to be onboarding. So when they come in there, you need to set the standards, meaning like, hey, you're going to come in for the first week. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to have one-on-one training. And on top of that, we got your back. We're going to support you thick and through. You are not going to fail. The only person that's going to fail is yourself. If you don't show up, if you don't put in the work, if you don't come in there with these beliefs and these values that we have proposed to you these last 1 or 2 days. So once you come in, we're going to spend the time, energy, and effort with you to get you up to speed in 30, 60, 90 days. And last but not least is step 8, continuous improvement. This is where you let the candidate know, hey, I got your back, 60, 90 days. You take them to lunch. You talk about the vision as a leader and as an entrepreneur. You talk about the vision. You talk about the purpose. You talk about the mission and your values. And that is all you beat down. Why, Sean? Is because that's the North Star. They need something to hang on to. They need hope. The candidate needs hope. They don't want to just show up and get a paycheck. Maybe they do, but they're not going to be at my agency. They're not going to be at my company if they just want a paycheck. If they just want a paycheck, they can go work it somewhere else. But here, this is what we're doing. We're going to be continuously improving. We're going to be continuously improving our growth, because if that candidate doesn't, then it stops there. Your company and your business, I've always said these 2 things. Your business will only be as good as your leader and your business owner, and then your weakest link, meaning the bottleneck in the weakest link. So if one person doesn't want to grow or doesn't believe in what you are doing and your mission and vision, they're going to slow you down. So you have to make sure that continuous improvement is there. Again, guys, Sean Myers here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please drop in the comment what you liked about this and what step you're on. And if you need some more information, don't feel free to email. The links are in the show notes on the YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. We're going to be rolling these out. Outside of that, have a fantastic day. Level up and live.